So I would like you to tell us how you see the political situation in Germany, and then also elaborate on why it seems necessary for arguably centrist conservatives to insist that they're not the same people as the more conservative politicians in Europe.
Well, it's pretty much a necessity to defame us, to stigmatize us. The simple reason being is we talk common sense. We want policies, we want politics that actually represent the people again. Where, I mean, democracy, what's it all about? It's government of the people, for the people, and by the people. But we haven't been seeing that in quite some time. For decades, that's been going on. The erosion of these democratic principles. Nowadays, it seems more like the people are being dictated to what their wants and what their needs are going to have to be. And these elected officials, they no longer take into consideration what is actually the best interest of the people that they were elected by and that they're paid by the way. So now this new party comes along. That was in 2013. And pretty much when my party was founded, the only thing we really did was representing or claiming to change policies in areas that the former conservative party in Germany, the Christian Democrats, stood for as long as I can remember. I used to vote for the Christian Democrats. Ever since I became eligible to vote, I voted for the Christian Democrats and the Liberal Party, the Free Democratic Liberals. We have 2 votes in Germany, so you can split them like that. And it wasn't me that changed my political opinion. It was these 2 parties that I voted for my entire life that changed their basis, changed their policy. So my waking up moment was in 2007, and it was actually the subprime crisis in the United States, where people getting, kicked out of their houses left and right. And it was like, what is going on there? Why are so many people suddenly losing their homes and whatnot? And that was my waking up moment. And in 2005, I still voted for the Christian Democrats. So yes, I did vote for Angela Merkel the first time she ran for chancellor. But I no longer could vote for them in 2009 when the next elections came around. So I voted invalid. And I really have to say this political homelessness that I felt, I would have never thought that it would get to me to an extent that it actually did. But not knowing who I felt represented by anymore, not knowing who was sitting in parliament and doing what I would want them to do, that was a horrible feeling, a really horrible feeling. So I voted invalid in 2009, and then 2013, I was, watching TV, and there was some talk on TV about some new party being founded, and they were critics of the EU, they were critics of the euro, and I'm like, whoa, what is this? And I'm like, all ears, and listened to it for a while, turned off my TV, and went on the internet, researched that party. And I was so glad to have finally found a party again that I felt represented by, that I decided, well, this time I'm not going to leave it up to anyone else to do the right thing here. And I decided to become a member. That very same night, filled out an application, and I've been a member of that party from the very beginning, 2013. And that's when it all started, right? So first we were called EU haters, European haters. We wanted to just destroy Europe because we were critics of the currency that we had, the euro. So it pretty much started right in the beginning. And and they kind of were hoping that, we were just short-term kind of phenomenon. We would just go away like that. But we didn't go away. And then the next thing happened, the mass invasion of these immigrants, so-called immigrants, asylum seekers, as they claim. And now we were Islamophobes, we were xenophobes. So the labeling, continued. And now we are pretty much, we've been called every name in the book, you name it. There is nothing left to pretty much label us with. But it's no longer working, really. Because I mean, if you apply a derogative label to just about anything and everything you disagree with, it no longer matters. And people are just sick and tired of, being called all kinds of names.
Yeah, my sense is that the far right epithet has lost a tremendous amount of its useful currency in the last 2 or 3 years.
It absolutely has. It absolutely has. And like I said, I mean, the number of people they have to call these names are getting larger and larger. With every controversial issue there is, you once again have another group of people, of the population, you need to stigmatize in such a way. Well, sooner or later, you're going to have a majority of the people, of the population, being slapped with that label. Well, seriously, that's what you're going to do now. So it's really no longer working. And I mean, they did whatever they could. I mean, they tried. They really gave it their best shot to just make us disappear. But it's not working. Why is it not working? Because everything we have been saying ever since 2013, we weren't making that stuff up. We weren't fear-mongering. We were simply seeing where we were headed. And the people are now beginning to realize, whoa, they were right. They said that. That's what they said like 10 years ago. And here we are. So they're seeing all of this, the policies that have been implemented, they're seeing it unfolding, and the consequences of these policies that were set a long time ago. They're seeing it now in their everyday life, and there is no denying it anymore. I mean, you can kind of play with numbers in some kind of a budget or, in a balance sheet. You can hide certain things. What you cannot hide is your lived reality. And the lived reality in Germany, it really saddens me to say, but Germany is turning into a hellhole country. We're no longer safe on our streets. I mean, just go back to 2015, New Year's Eve. There was a mob of 1,000 men ganging up on women, just, being out there celebrating New Year's Eve. Notably in Cologne, it was just dreadful what these women experienced, right? So
we saw an echo of that in Paris 2 weeks ago at the music festival.
Yeah, I mean, these are occurrences. It's no longer isolated incidents, what we're talking about here. So that's been going on for quite some time. What we're seeing in Germany now is you have 2 brutal gang rapes every single day in Germany. And when I'm saying brutal gang rapes, I mean, these women are not just raped. They're brutally beaten within an inch of their life if they survive it at all, right? 2 of them every single day happening in Germany. And that's not even talking about the rapes where there's only one perpetrator, right? So, or these random knife attacks every day, not only every day, on an hourly basis. We have those, 12, 13, 14, 15 random knife attacks.
Right. Well, they were thinking about bringing in knife control in the UK for the same reasons.
They have.
Yeah. That's really something. That's really quite something.
Watch them caring about that. They don't. So what they do, though, is once we had the Christmas markets and everything, they were, heavily patrolled. Yeah, they took the little knife that a grandma carried in her purse so she can cut up an apple or something. Yeah, they were, taken away from people like that. But the real perpetrators, they wouldn't go near them.
And have they erected barriers in Germany?
Oh, yeah.
Because that's a terrible thing,
I know.
That's a terrible thing to see when the state starts to erect barriers to protect people, that things are in dismal decline.
That's the funny thing about that. What is the function of external borders? So the people that are inside can just go about their daily business and live in peace. Once you start tearing down the external borders, what are you going to end up doing? You're going to erect little small borders all over that supposedly secure area. And that's what we're seeing. So it's like, if a family father, he just decided to bring in, just any old Joe Schmo into his house, because he felt, he needed to help these people for whatever reason. And then he finds out his family is no longer safe in the house. What would this father do? Well, kick all of them out. But what we're doing is we're locking up our family, in the individual rooms so they're safe there. Seriously? This is so beyond reason and beyond any rational thinking. It's actually ridiculous when you really think about it. But